And hello everybody, thank you for joining me in the video today. Sukinode with another Street Fighter 6 video. Have a very special guest, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello, I'm Rock. I don't know, I don't do any YouTube, any kind of recordings or anything like that, but I do like finding tech and playing the game and sharing information.
Yeah. Rock has been a avid watcher and commenter for my videos, which I really appreciate. And he's also been teaching me more about the game, especially about how frame data works. And I remember he was telling me about how frame data works, and I was just listening to you explain it. I was like, dude, you need to be in a fighting games. You need to be a fighting game school professor for frame data, because the way you break it down makes it make sense. If that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
I gotcha.
So that's why in that one video I was like, you need to make, if all you do is make, hey, this is how frame data works, this is how this character works with frame data videos, I feel like you would be wildly popular, because no one, maybe only two other players who happen to be pros break it down the way you do. And even then, like Sonic Soul, I mentioned him. He breaks it down for very specific characters and very specific situations. And he usually does it when someone goes, "That's not how that situation works." And then he's like, "Yeah, it does." And he'll go into training and he'll show you why it works that way. Very knowledgeable player. I watch a lot of his stuff, and I love watching him do his stuff, because a lot of the times, 8 out of 10 times, he's absolutely on the money. Sajam is another one that I mentioned, because he tends to like break things down. I've never really heard him talk about frame data, but he tends to break things down in a way people can actually absorb and actually understand. Um,
Yeah, most of what I've seen from other pro players, and like you mentioned Sajam, so like he does a lot of commentary and things like that. Most of them tell you like the setup that you could do to beat a wake up button. So like they're trying to teach you how to beat a 4 frame, right? Their fastest button. Make sure that you can beat that, so you're not jabbed out of like your wake up setup for your Oki.
yeah.
But I haven't really seen anybody go through too much of how to be more plus on block on wake up, and that's kind of what we're going to cover today.
Yes.
So, got the frame bar on? You got yours on?
I do. So,
Okay.
mostly from here on out, unless you need a response from me, I'm gonna let you talk, because you know this. I'm still a beginner at the whole frame data thing. My knowledge is basic bare bones. I know plus frames good, negative frames bad. Uh, you want more plus frames for your plus frames, and that's about it. So
Yeah, basically.
yeah, so I'm gonna
Okay.
sit in the background, let you break it down, and get in your groove. Say something smart, Rock. No pressure.
Say something smart. Okay. So first, I guess we'll go through what the colors actually mean on the bar. So, like as an example, Cammy's stand heavy punch. It's got 8 frame startup. So in the green is 7. The 8th frame is the first active frame. So there's 3 active frames, and that's what that magenta color is, if you want to call it that. And then your blue's your recovery. So it's 8 frame startup, 3 active frames, 30 frames total. So you're basically ending up with 20 frames of recovery. So whiffing this can be bad. So what your goal is so you go ahead and block real quick, so we can show this. All right, so it's -3 on block, right? So I'm not punishable. Now, if I was able to catch it on wake up, see, when you're standing here like this and you swing, it's not going to be a wake up, right? So here, let's come over here real quick. So go ahead and block. Okay, so this button for Cammy, her low fierce, that's 10 frame startup, but it's got 4 active frames. It's +1 on block, right? So what your goal is go ahead and stand up. So I'm just gonna do this because it's easier. All right, so I got 29 frames advantage right there, right? Well, Cammy doesn't have any move that's 29 frames, but her dash is 18 frames, right? So that's gonna leave 11 frames, right? That's what it's gonna leave me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knock you down, and then I want you to block on wake up.
Okay.
Oh, that's +1, so I landed it right at that active frame.
Yeah.
Tell I'm not warmed up yet. Right there, +3. So I landed it on the 3rd active frame. So your active frames, the farther you can land into it, it adds a frame. So you standing there on block, this is +1, right?
Right.
But because I'm catching you on wake up, I'm catching you during the later active frames. So the later you can connect on those frames, the more it'll add to the advantage.
Gotcha.
So if you've got a move that's like -1, so go ahead, this right here, that's -1, right?
Yeah.
So her stand medium punch, 6 frame startup, 4 frames active, 13 recovery, right? So if I do this, oh, I messed up the dash. Oh, I caught that at the right time. This one, see, +1. So I landed 2 frames after into the active frames. So it made it from -1 to +1. That's what Oki is. Right? So you're doing something to kill frames. So I'm using her dash to kill frames. So like, come over here real quick. So this right here leaves me at 26 frames. So I don't have 27 like I do with the other wake up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I do that dash, right, I've only got, you know, a handful of frames to work with.
Yeah.
This right here, I can get that to land on 8 frames if I do it perfectly. But it's got a 6 frame startup. So this goes from a -1 to a +1.
Right.
Now that's what I have to do if I do medium spiral arrow, right?
Okay.
Heavy spiral arrow gives me 29,
Right.
Medium gives me 26, so I lose 3 frames. So instead of using a 10 frame button, I'm gonna use a 6 frame button.
Right.
And then that can link into this as a combo.
Yeah.
And then if they do press a button, you beat them out, you get counter hit, which is going to give you an extra frames, usually right around 3 or 4 depending on which button you choose to use. So like this one on counter hit is +3, it'll give you 3 extra frames, so like that's 6 on hit, it would actually give me 9.
Right.
And if this is +1, right, so if I catch this on counter hit, this one actually gives me +7. But a punish counter gives you an extra frame compared to a regular counter hit. So if I get punish counter on this, I can actually link into her stand heavy.
Okay.
And that's what you got to pay attention to. So like certain things that you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's 5 frames. So you get a lot of players that do this into something, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because like this only gives you, well, wow, Cammy's blessed. Okay.
Dude, yeah,
Most
Cammy
characters-
is busted.
Yeah, most characters do not give you.
Yeah, I was in one of the videos that I have ready to get uploaded. Well, it's ready to be edited, so then I can upload it. I go up against some Cammies in ranked, and I'm like, Cammy knows nothing about personal space. I'm just like,
No,
Cammy,
she absolutely
space.
does it. and she's a pressure monster. And here's the other thing. So, like, we're going through this now. Street Fighter V, every wake up. So you had delayed wake up, quick rise, and back roll. Each wake up had different frames. In this game, there isn't one, right? So you wake straight up, that's 29. So go ahead and back roll.
Oh, didn't get it.
Or kick me, whatever you want to do.
It's 2 buttons when you're waking up, right?
Yeah, just mash it till you roll.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do.
There we go.
So, well, you press the button. Alright, so it's still, I rolled. Alright, so it's still 29 frames. So, standard wake up and rollback is still the same frames. And the reason why Cammy is so irritating is because if you do back roll, so like the setup that I just did for this, right? I'm still in your face.
Right.
Because her dash will follow that back roll. So whether you back roll, quick rise, no matter what you do, it's still going to work. Now, certain characters, you know, if you back roll, they can get the hit, but they can't get the 50-50. Cammy gets a 50-50. Because even if I don't... Even if you back roll, I can get that grab.
Okay.
So
Now,
she's got a true 50-50.
Now I do have a question. With
Yeah.
the back roll, are you catching the back roll itself, or is it just that because you're so plus, you're close enough that even after the roll, you're getting grabbed? The opponent's getting grabbed.
No, it's because of the way the spiral arrow ends. So
Okay.
like doing this, here, well, in the corner is not going to really emphasize it. But like, okay, so I'm in your face. My dash is going to put me here.
Okay.
So I'm using the dash just to kill frames. That's
Right.
all I'm using it for. So you quick rise, you back rise, it doesn't matter. I'm in your face. There's nothing that you can do about it except play the game. Well, I say that, but you could do, you could do an ODP,
Yeah. If I call it an invincible
level 1
move,
super.
it'll blow it up. Yeah.
Yeah, a level 3, it'll blow it up. But then the problem is I've got so much time.
Hmm.
If I've knocked you down twice and I decided I'm just going to do pressure, and then the third time I go, you know what, I'm not going to, because you're starting to get low on life, then I'll just dash in and block.
Right.
So if you throw something, the game is over.
Yeah, it's kind
At
of
least
what
that
I've
round.
been doing. It's actually kind of what I've been doing off of that. I'll rush in, and then sometimes I'll just block if I'm thinking they're going to do like an invincible DP or a level 1 or a level 3. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's basically the same for every character. A lot of like the Oki that you can create is you're giving up damage, right? So like when the game first released and you finally had the full cast, they were saying Cammy doesn't do any damage. Cammy actually does a lot of damage. Certain combos, she actually does more damage than Ken does, and Ken's the most played character in this game. The thing is that I'm gonna give up damage for this,
Right.
right? I mean that's really all it is.
Yeah. So you're deciding not to do the damage to continue the pressure with your plus frames.
Yeah, it's 2100 damage, right, for me to do this. But now I'm 42%. I haven't burned any bar, and I only had to play one wake-up game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're giving up. You're giving up all that pressure. You don't have to use any drive gauge. I mean, you can. I mean, she's obviously very good at using drive gauge. But I mean, you're just playing the wake-up game.
Okay.
The thing is just playing around with the frame data. You got to look at what the plus is on your knockdown, and pick the best advice I can give, like a new player, find 3 combos that you like, 3 combos that work for you, and then see if any of them give you a wake up, right? And I mean 3 combos by like, something that's punishable. So you got something that's like a 5-frame punish, or like an 8-frame punish, or like something super punishable, right? Like you got Ken, Ryu, somebody throws out an OD Shuriken and you're like plus 1,000,000 because it's just a horrible thing to be blocked.
Yeah.
Do the most damage you could possibly do. You get unlimited options at that point, but you got other things that somebody's going to do that's -8. So what do you have for an 8-frame punish? Pick your combos that are like that, and then try to find a combo ender that puts you in a position to play the Oki game. Some characters don't have it, or some characters have to give it up. You look at Jamie. If you want to get your drinks with Jamie, for Jamie to be a great character, you have to give up Oki.
Yeah.
If you're outside the corner, you have to give it up.
Yeah, almost all of his combos that go into his drink put you back at neutral. So
Yeah, they absolutely do. Outside of the corner, because
yeah.
I can back roll. Like, okay, fine. You did your little flip kick at my feet, and then you kicked me in the chest, and you took your drink. I back rolled, and now you have to win the neutral again. So I mean, that's the biggest issue with Jamie, and he doesn't keep his drinks round to round.
Right.
Right. I mean, so you got a lot of characters like that. I mean, you look at like Minon's only got one option. She's got one option to play the wake up game, and she's got to give up a lot of damage to play it. And if you're playing, you're trying to get your medals, right? You're trying to play the grab game. Well, that's great. When she gets to medal 5, she's scary. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I had to give up the wake up game 4 times to get those medals.
Yeah.
So it's a game of give and take. And it could also boil down to like your play style too, right? I mean, certain players don't like to cause that much pressure. They like to stand back and they like to react instead of cause pressure.
Yeah.
You know, some players don't like to try to make their opponent fold or do something crazy. You know, they'll knock you down and they'll back up for, you know, whatever reason, and that can be a benefit depending on who you're playing against, I guess, maybe their play style. But everybody plays different, and that's the beauty about this game. Street Fighter 6 gave us so many options. You know, Street Fighter 5, comparing the two games, there's a lot of combos, but Street Fighter 5 was mostly linear. You played your character by the way your character was designed to be played.
Yeah.
This game, because of Drive, Rush, Drive, Impact, you can play any character any which way you want, right? You could pick JP and be a rushdown character.
It actually
like
feels,
you could do that.
It actually feels like Manon is the only character that works the way Street Fighter 5 characters did, because it doesn't feel, at least to me when I was playing her, it doesn't feel like you can play her any way you want. It feels like there is a certain thing you need to do with her, and if you're not going to be very successful with her.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, even IDOM said, you know, she can put out a lot of damage, but she's very difficult to constantly win neutral with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta be a neutral monster, or you gotta go YOLO.
Yeah.
And I've seen that work for a lot of Manon players. They just go YOLO.
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, I did this, I did that, and I'm -1, but I'm gonna go ahead and burn the bar for a command grab. And if it lands, then I get a medal and extra damage because I burned a bar, and if I don't, well, then I lost the gamble. Is the way they'll look at it.
Yeah, I actually lost to a Manon that just went YOLO because my brain couldn't wrap my head around her doing it. She was doing her neutral quarter circle back medium kick, and then she was doing the quarter circle back light, and she rarely actually used the overhead, the quarter circle back hard kick. She rarely actually used that, but she was just throwing buttons out, and I'm like, what are you doing? If at any point in time I block, you die. And I never blocked because I was like, okay, she's not gonna do it again though. Like that was just a happy circumstance. She's not gonna do it again. And she just kept doing it, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I should have just blocked and exploded her, but I was just so surprised.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I mean you get people that'll throw OD moves on a plus move, like Ken for example, right? He'll do his heavy Dragon Lash, which is +1 on block, and then he'll go straight into OD Shuriken, and it's like, really? You were +1? Like, why didn't you jab? Like, I don't understand, right? If you're playing somebody who actually respects the move, then you were gonna lose. Because let's say you go ahead and you do that, and then you do that move. Okay, well, Street Fighter's designed that the person who does the move second wins, right? So, you know, if I'm Cammy and I'm playing a Ken and he does that and goes straight into OD Shuriken, but say I did this input, I'll win because mine came out second.
Gotcha.
Mine's gonna break the armor, so it's like I don't understand. Some people do very weird things in this game.
I actually fought a Ken. I don't know if it's in a video that's already up or if it is a video coming up. I fought a Ken that just kept heavy Dragon Lashing. And then when I realized that's what he was doing, I looked for it. And I kept DIing him for it. And he just kept doing it. Like, he's
Yeah,
slow.
you have four options technically, because not counting supers. So like for his heavy Dragon Lash, I mean, you can DP it because it's an air move. If you got a frame 1 DP, you can DP it. You can jab it out of the air.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah, you can.
I did not know that.
And it's considered a punish counter. So when you jab it out of the air, it puts him in a juggle state. You can literally do this, and it'll combo.
Okay.
Like you can do this into other moves. You know what I mean? Like, it's an option. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, and a lot of people, I've yet to see a lot of people actually emphasize that is the creating combos for the juggle states.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Cammy's got her back medium punch. Like, if somebody jumps at me, I'll try to delay that as much as I can, because if I catch him while they're pressing the button, it puts him in a juggle state. So like, I can do this, into that, into that, and it'll combo, and it'll take like 27%, I think it is, right around 27%.
Yeah.
And I didn't burn a bar. You know, a lot of people, they do this, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against that at all.
Right.
You know, go ahead and DP it. But you got somebody that's jumping constantly. You want to teach them a lesson. Certain characters have certain options. You know, Jury has an option. Her down heavy punch. That's an option.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you get a punish counter on that, that's cancelable. You can cancel that move.
Okay. Well, I wasn't aware that it could be canceled on punish counter.
No, it's a cancelable move.
Is it really?
Punish counter, yeah, punish counter or not.
Oh, it is. Huh.
Yeah. So all you gotta do is just cancel into drive rush.
Okay.
Like, that's all you gotta do. And then for her, like, if you're gonna cancel for her, so like she's got down heavy, and then she's got back hard kick. That axe kick, it's 2 hits, right?
Yeah.
So like you can literally do you can do that into heavy DP.
Okay.
So you do down heavy punch, drive rush into the axe kick, and then just slowly input the heavy DP because you want to wait for that second hit to connect.
Yeah.
Just so you're not giving up any damage, and yeah, you'll just waste them for it. That is an option.
All right. Now,
plus the other thing is even if you want to do it preemptively, it's not a bad idea because Jerry's got a fast drive rush. So if somebody jumps in on you and you do that move, right, and you drive rush, if you hold backwards, you won't drive rush as far, and you can play a 50-50 game on which side you end up on when they land.
Oh.
So you could land in front of them and you could land behind them, and it's your turn because you're on the ground.
That's dirty.
Yeah, so she's got a 50-50 game off a jump in.
Okay. I'm gonna have to experiment with that. Because I catch people with this all the time. In one of the coming up videos, there is trying to think which character it is. I think it's a Ryu. I don't know what he was doing, but I was constantly popping him out of the air for this. And I had a mirror match with another Jury. I was actually catching her in her dive kick with this, and it was beating it. So
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and the other thing when it comes to wake ups, like Cammy's the perfect example because I know exactly what the frames are going to be, and I can dash and kill frames and choose which button, depending on which spiral arrow that I use. Mm-hmm. Other characters have good Oki, but to create the plus frames, you have to actually manually time it.
Right.
That makes it more difficult, right? So let's go ahead and do an example of that.
Okay.
We can cover all bases here in the video. So, like, I'll pick Ken.
Do you want me to pick anyone specific?
No, it doesn't matter. You can pick anybody you want. I'm just showing the difference between, like, a manual timing.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you would that you'd want to impart about frame data?
Paying attention to what frame data you actually get off drive rush, because everybody has the habit of thinking that it makes everything plus. Mm-hmm. It does not, right? So you got your frame data on?
There we go. Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and block low. -2. That is not plus. Now certain moves will change, right? So like,
right.
So like this right here is +2, right? But that is +4. And from there I can do anything I want. I can shimmy, see if you press a button. I can grab you out of it. You know what I mean? But okay, so let's cover the wake up for Ken. So I'm gonna knock you down and then go ahead and block and wake up.
Okay.
I was early. Way too early. See, that right there is -3, right? But if you're blocking it, it's alright. It's always -3. So anything that Ken does off his run does not change the frame data, no matter what active block you land in. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Ken's already so strong. So anything he does off run, if you block it, it's your turn. He's not punishable, but it's your turn.
Right.
Right. So I mean that's an option. But so like off his, but like if I did +2.
+2.
Okay, so go ahead, block this. So that's -2, but it's 5 frames active. You see that, the magenta bar down there?
Yeah.
That means that I just hit you on the 4th active frame, but I have to manually time that.
Okay.
So that takes practice. That's the other thing. So you can get Oki with every character in this game, but there's a reason why they say pick the character that you want and master that character, right? Try to play that character and master that character, because it's those things. It's those timings, because if you have to do manual timings for things, it gets very difficult going character to character.
Right.
Unless, you know, like Jury, she's got pressure just like Cammy. The only difference is I can eliminate her 50-50. If I back roll, your dash is going to put you in a spot where you can hit me and be plus, but you can't grab me out of it.
Right.
Unless it's in the corner. So, but she's still, you know, you're dashing up and you're doing standing medium punch, which is plus on block anyway. So you're adding frames on that. The distance is actually a benefit for Jury because she reaches so far, right? People are very quick to want to take their turns, so they're going to press a button. They block that, they're going to press a button now, right?
Right.
So you can literally hit them, take a half a step backwards, and you can hit heavy punch and whiff punish them for it. You know, she's a very strong whiff punish character. But then people got dirty setups too, man.
Yeah.
So like that right there.
Yeah.
How dirty is that? Because okay, you got knocked down, that whiffed. Now yet this is kind of higher level.
Yeah.
But like that's +5, which means I can now combo into this. Most people see a Jinrai kick and they go, oh shit, all I gotta do is get up and press any button, right?
Right.
So, you know, to be able to win, like, okay, well, I don't have to burn the bar because he's already doing that. And Jinrai kick that close is, even if I do the light, right? So like, even if I did this, that's -5. Me being that close, you can jab, punish it, right? The medium's slow. The heavy, you can duck underneath the heavy. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Didn't know I could duck under the heavy now.
Yeah, so go ahead and crouch block. Whoops, wrong button.
Okay.
Goes over your head. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. So you got someone who's a button masher and they like the Jinrai kicks. They'll throw the heavy out there because it does the most damage.
Right.
But yeah, it'll whiff. Yeah, it'll absolutely whiff.
Okay.
No, but yeah, so like it's some things you have to manually time. For if you want to be, you know, plus on block constantly with Ken, you have to manually time everything because the frame data is strange. Because there, go ahead and that right there says I'm +22, right?
Yeah.
His dash is 19, so I mean I could dash up and I could do that, but it's not going to give me any plus frames. But what I can do, whoops, if I actually press the right button,
Yeah.
that right there will beat a wake up. It's -4, gives me the pushback. You can punish it if you're quick. You got to be real quick, but you're gonna have to do one jab into a cancel, that is very hard to do.
Yeah.
But if it hits, if I hit you, it's a full combo. But it'll catch any button you do, except for obviously wake up level 1 reversals, or frame 1 reversals is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Which not every character has. But like Kimberly does not have a frame 1 reversal, except for her level 1, right? Marissa does not have a frame 1 reversal. She has to burn supers.
Yeah.
And her level 1 is not frame 1. Her level 2 is, which is absolutely strange. But she does an obscene amount of damage.
Yeah.
So like you got a character like that, and this is the greatest thing about frame data, because you're fighting somebody like a Kimberly, right? Well, the moment you knock her down, if you've practiced your Oki and you know how to keep plus frames on block and be able to prevent them from pressing any button, you can demolish Kimberly because she has no option but to take it. That's all she can do. She can play the 50-50. You can force her to have to block, and if I catch this meaty, like I'm like we're in the corner right now, so it pushes me back real far. But if we're in the center of the screen and you block it, I can grab you right after it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Because landing farther, because like you get pushback right on block and hit in this game for every move that you do. But the pushback is actually created by the active frames. So if I land farther in the active frames, it causes less pushback.
Oh, okay. Which allows you to consistently keep pressure because you're not being pushed as far back.
Yeah, see, I didn't get any with that one. Yeah. So I got 3 frames there. But yeah, so I mean, it's just, you got to play around with your characters, man. Some of them being manually timed, some of them are just autopilot. Cammy, Jury, those 2 characters, prominent, you can autopilot wake up with them. As long as you can master the timing of the dash into the input, you can autopilot Oki all day long. Certain characters you can't. Certain characters you have to choose certain moves.
Right.
Like for an example, if I want to do a run wake up with Ken, right? Mm-hmm. And I do this, I have to do the heavy kick. Because if I do this, you can jab me out of it.
No way.
Yeah, because it takes too long. But if I do this, then I can do that kick. So depending on what ender you choose, the options that you have, right? So like a lot of Ryu players, they say Ryu doesn't do any damage mid-screen, right? He doesn't have a lot of corner carry, which, yeah, okay, fine. He doesn't have a lot of corner carry. I'll give you that. But he's giving up damage because his light Tatsu puts him right next to you. He can literally dash into his medium punch, which is 5 frames, reaches farther than Ken's.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect wake up, and he's like +2, +3 on block. If you block that, so I mean, you got to give up damage for pressure.
I keep telling people Ryu is not weak.
Ryu is not as weak.
He's possibly the only balanced character in the game, but he's not weak.
Well, the problem is you got all these people that are watching tier lists on YouTube. Okay, fine. If you want to compare tools, right, the move set, and you want to look at it from that aspect, then okay, fine. Ryu's a B tier character, right? He's middle of the road. He's average. Why would you choose him over Ken or Luke? All right, that's what a lot of people say. All right, I get it, but at the same time, Ryu has better wake up options without having to manually time it compared to Luke and Ken. So it's like if I'm fighting somebody who likes to press buttons, I got a better chance of destroying them with Ryu than I do Ken or Luke.
You hear that, all you Ryu players? All you Ryu players, you hear that? Keep at it. Keep working on it.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing that, like, Luke is the one that can give you safe jumps. But you have to cut his combos so short to do it.
Right.
Right? Just like Ken, I can actually do, there is one combo that he can do that'll give you I jumped too soon. But still, even that.
Yep. Beat out my light.
Yeah. So I mean, even if you did it, even if you did like an OD reverse, one, it swaps sides.
Right.
Right. Because most people don't roll back on that because it's not the end of a combo.
Right.
But even if you did OD, I'm gonna hit the ground and I can block. That's the thing, and it's a crosscut. So I mean, I don't know if you figured out how to do that yet. The crosscut DPs.
I'm working on it. I've watched a video on how it works, but I haven't gotten comfortable enough that I can get them consistently. I think I've landed one successfully.
Yeah, it's a half a circle back input.
Yeah,
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, the way I understand it is you're reacting to the side switch and then inputting your button in the opposite direction. So if it's quarter circle forward, you're going quarter circle back, and it'll throw the button out in the direction of the cross up.
Yeah, but you still have to do the normal forward.
Oh, do you still have to do the normal forward?
Yeah, okay, you know what, here, let's turn on input history.
There we go. It is on.
Alright, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and jump over me. Whoops, do it again. Alright, so look at my inputs. So like I literally did, because you jump from left to right, right? So I did left and then half a circle backwards. Because the forward input has to, when you do the forward input to do the cross cut, you're still on your original side.
Oh, gotcha. You're using the shortcut for the DP. That's okay.
Basically, yeah. So like, you know, instead of doing, you know,
The
this
Z
input,
input,
right?
yeah.
Forward, down, forward, right? You jump over me. Good. Ugh. How'd I hit that button?
No clue. There we go.
There you go. I'm just not being quick enough with it because we're standing too close together.
Yeah.
So like if you look at that input, I'm doing half a circle backwards.
Yeah.
Starting towards your character at this moment, right? And then doing it. Now, I mean, of course, most cross-ups people are usually here. They're not like right here.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit easier.
Okay. That's gonna have to be something that I practice then.
Yeah, that takes time. That is not easy. Yeah. That is absolutely not easy. The other thing is you can dash.
Yes.
I don't know why most people don't do that.
I have been. It's been an
Especially,
accident, but I have been getting that a couple of times.
Especially like where you're at right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I knock you down, you get a lot of characters that'll try to jump towards you.
Yeah.
In the corner because you can't swap sides like you could, see, right there.
Yeah.
All you had to do was walk. And that's a full punish too.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize this game has landing frames. Now you're not going to be able to do a heavy button, but like you can literally go into lights, right? So like you get somebody, you know, you get those players, if they're doing this, you can't, right?
Right.
But you'll get those players that are trying to bait a DP, right? So they'll jump this way. So if you do the DP, you know, you're in massive recovery frames. Yeah, you got out of the corner, but you're going to lose 30-some% of your life easily.
Yeah, and that has happened to me before. I would try to DP the jump, and they would go over me, and my DP would miss. Yeah.
Yeah, so just pay attention to what your enemy likes to do. They like to jump this way. You just walk. I mean, that's all you got to do is just walk.
Damn it. Not getting the button. Oop.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to DP.
Oh.
But I'm not getting the button. It's difficult for me to do it from this side.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's because I'm like going back toward my hand, so it can be difficult for me to get it from this side. No worries. I think everyone kind of understands what you're saying from the examples that we've been given. And if they've been watching my videos, they have literally watched it happen to me. So.
Oh, yeah. I know I have. I've seen it happen a bunch of times.
Yeah, I'm trying to break that bad habit.
I'm like, he flubbed that input.
Yeah. It is what I'm coming to be known for.
Oh, it just takes time, man. It just takes time. Time and practice.
Yeah. But okay. I think that was actually a really good session on frame data, how it works, and like I said, the way you break it down makes it very understandable. A lot of people try to overcomplicate it, and there's no reason to. Street Fighter 6, they gave you all the information. Like, I mean, it's all there. You know, you pull up the frame data right on the screen in training mode. You know, you finish your combo and you just stop. Okay, what's the frames? This many frames. Okay, what can I do to kill frames? Right? I mean, you might get options where it's like, okay, well, I've got, 30 frames or something, but if I do my light punch, it's 13 frames, something along the lines of that. So, let's say I got 23 frames of advantage.
right? Knocking somebody down. I can do this into heavy, right? Because this killed
Yeah.
13. That's 10, right?
Yeah.
So, if I'm sitting around 23, 24 frames of advantage when I knock somebody down and they're close to me, then, that's an option. This will whiff while they're still waking up, and then this will hit meaty. Because that's what a meaty is. You're catching somebody, before they can press a button. But this game, you get to see all the frames. So now, not only can you throw the meaty, but now you can actually add frames. Because now you know what the active frames are. The farther you land inside those active frames, the more frames you add to, block or hit.
Yeah.
And it opens up a lot more combo options for you. Because like this on hit is +3. But if I hit meaty and it lands and I hit you, right? So if I hit, 2 frames into the 5 active frames and it hits you, I'm now +5. I can go into this. That is a game changer. 2190, adding that, that's almost 30% of your life.
Yeah.
Just gone. We can actually test that. Because that's what it would be. So 27.4. 27% is what it would be. If that punch hits meaty.
So what
That's why
I
the active
will
frames
say,
are so important.
Yeah. So what I will say is the information is there, but the majority of people who see any kind of video game and jump into it, they don't understand what they're looking at, right? Especially if they're a new player, right? That's why when you're explaining it, that's why I say you break it down in a way that makes it digestible for, I think, anyone who listens to you talk about it. Because when a person, even let's say it's a person who has played previous fighting games, regardless of which ones they are, and someone says frame data, go into the game and look, it's all there. So they go in, they look at the frame data bar, but they don't know how to apply it. They go, okay, well, this is supposed to be 3+ frames, right? And then they go into a match and they're going, well, why am I losing here? It's because they don't understand the other steps that go into making that something where they win. That
you know
exchange.
what? That's actually one last thing that we should cover before we go, now that you mention that. So,
okay.
Because you'll get a lot of those players that they want to land the heavy buttons, they do the most damage, right? So like, here's the issue, right? So like, if I land this, it's +4, right? And they're like, ooh, that hits, I'm gonna go into this, right? So it's +4, you're right, but this is 10 frames,
Right.
So the easiest way to look at that is say, okay, well, you have to subtract 4 times 10. That gives you 6, right? So you're +4, which means you got 6 frames to land that button before they can press another button. Well, they get beaten out because, the guy on the other side panics, so he starts doing lights.
Right. Or
That's
that.
4 frames. That's 4 frames. You're going to lose. Because if you're +4 on hit here, right? And I try to press that button, I can't. I can't do it because it takes 6 frames for that heavy punch to come out.
Yeah.
Right? So it's saying start up 10, but I'm +4 here. So you subtract the 4 from those 10. So this is coming out in a 6-frame window. And that 6-frame window is the window that the enemy can move or press a button.
Right.
That's the best way to look at it. The enemy has 6 frames to press a button in between those 2 moves. That's the best way to look at it. Because I know a lot of people get confused when they hear that.
Yeah.
And they go, what do you mean that it's 6? It says it's 10 frames, and you're saying I have 6. It's you're subtracting and adding frames.
Correct.
Right? So I'm trying to do this. So +4. If I do this, if he does any move that's more than 6 frames, I'll win. But if he does any move that's less, I lose.
Right.
So you got to think about that too. So like, you're +4, you want to pressure, try a medium button. That's 5 frames. That means he's got a 1-frame window. He could press any button he wants in the world. I'm going to beat him.
Yeah.
Right? This is +4. You could do this. This is 7, right?
No,
And because of that, like that's 3 frames, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get kicked in the face.
Well, you stopped. I saw my chance.
It's just that concept. You have to pick certain moves. And I don't want to say frame data is the end all be all, because it really isn't. I mean, you know that if you hit somebody, you're plus, right? The biggest thing you need to know in this game is what moves people do that are plus, right? When you cannot press a button, or when you shouldn't, I should say, because you can still press the button, you're just going to lose. That's the biggest thing, is just know when you can and when you can't press a button. If you can know that, then the numbers don't matter that much. If you're trying to play the Oki game, then the numbers matter, right? If somebody's doing something that, you know, you can't seem to beat out, or it looks like it should be very punishable, it may not be. It may look like it is, right? But it's not a heavily punishable move, or it's not as punishable as you think it is. Then go into training mode and see what it's negative, right? So they, you know, make the dummy do the move, and then look at the frame data and say, okay, they're -8, right? That's all you need to know. It's -8 on block. Okay, cool. So then what move do I have that's less than 8 frames? That's I can hit them close enough, right? That I'm close enough to that person to land. That's really how you need to look at it. A lot of people get way too in depth with the frame data, and it can confuse a lot of people, especially if you've never looked at frame data before.
Yeah.
You know, if you've never looked at it, it seems like a lot of information, and you don't have to look at it that way. You don't have to look at it as this huge, massive, overwhelming aspect. You really don't. You need the frame data for wake up and frame data for punishes. That's really what you need.
And I also want to stress something to anyone who's watching this video who is either new to fighting games or isn't new to it, and they've been playing fighting games but they're not very high in ranking. They don't feel like they're a very good player. Understand that a lot of what Rock is also talking about is in-depth, more veteran stuff. When you're just starting out, or if you don't play consistently, these aren't things you really even think about. And if you do come across it, as I said, you don't really know what you're looking at. What you need to understand is that fighting games are a learning experience, and you need to take your time. A lot of people are in too much of a rush, because I know when I first started playing fighting games, and even now, I get into the mindset of I'm in silver, but I want to be in master, and I want to be in master right now. But that's just not how that works. Fighting games are a learning experience. So what you want to do is, like Rock suggested earlier, is you want to take one thing and work on that one thing until it becomes second nature. Then build on that by doing another thing and working on that thing until it also becomes second nature. And you'll naturally put those two things together, and that will make you a stronger player. Yeah,
it's just building the muscle memory.
Yeah, don't feel like you need to rush yourself. Take your time and build it up, and you will improve over time.
The best advice I can give anybody playing a game, I don't care if you're brand new, I don't care if you've been playing for a while. If it's a new game, you're not used to it, you're still learning it, take the L, take the loss. So what I mean by that is don't go into the match, trying to dominate your opponent, right? You're trying to learn what you can do. So like you see a move, right? They do a move. Is it punishable? Does a 4-frame work? Nope, I got hit. Okay, so I can't press a button after this. Okay, they did a move. It's punishable, but I'm not in this range. Maybe this will work. Okay, that's a 5-frame kick. Oh, okay, that punished, right? You may not need to know the frame, but you can try the button. Does it work? Oh, it does? Cool. So the next time he does that move, I can now do this. Right? And it's a game of trial and error, right? They do something that's heavily punishable, and you go, okay, I did this, but it was blocked. Okay, so it's not that punishable. So then the next time they do it, you do this, right? And you go, oh, that works. Okay, cool. So I know that I can autopilot that. You can play that game. Take the L. Just go into there. Just go into the match going, okay, you know what? I don't know how to play this character, so I'm literally going to take this first match and just try different things at the end of each combo string.
Yeah.
A lot of players autopilot. They get into their little groove, and you'll see a lot of the same combo over and over again. So check the end of that combo. If you block it all, what's your option? And most people know the player they're playing, right? The character they're using. So usually, if you catch them doing something that's unsafe, what do you see afterwards? This.
Yeah.
That's what you'll see. Which is another great thing, because then you're like, okay, cool. So now I block that whole thing, and then I wait for the colors, and
Right.
then I punish him for it. Because drive impact gives you time to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's plus any move you could ever want to throw.
Yeah. So a little look, just to explain a little bit more about that. A little look into my mindset and the way I like characters to play. So Juri, when she came out in Street Fighter 4, I loved because I played her as a counter character. So her fireball in Street Fighter 4 was a full screen low fireball. Fuha stocks were not a thing back then. She just got to do it. And if you spaced yourself right, it was a punish on other fireball characters. Because you could literally do it and jump their fireball, and now they were stuck. Because they couldn't do anything to you while you were jumping towards them because the fireball was covering you. And more often than not, they get hit in the feet, and they would get hit overhead, and you could go into combo. Another thing is that her dive wasn't a dive. It was actually in the air, straight across the screen attack that then knocked you away. It was like an anti-air. So if they jumped, you just did that, and it always won. Plus, she still had this. This was still insanely amazing. So in my matches, I just played her as a counter character. I was like, oh, you want to throw a fireball? Cool, we'll throw fireballs. I will win. You want to jump in the air? I will either do this or I will dive. You know, I will just shoot across the screen and knock you out of the air. And I loved that playstyle, which they then ruined in Street Fighter V. Now, the other kind of character I like is why I like Marisa so much. Because I also play Z Broly in Dragon Ball FighterZ. I love characters that get to tell you what you're doing doesn't matter. I am going to punch you in the face. The only real question is when am I gonna punch you in the face? That's the only question. But I'm going to.
Broly's got armor on like half his moves.
Yeah, he's got armor on almost everything but like one move.
Yeah, basically.
So it's like, nah, I'm coming, and you're gonna take it. And I love those
zero. I think he's 0 on block on his crouching light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Broly.
Yeah. he's even like more. Now when he first came out, he wasn't as ridiculous as he is now. He's gone through some buffs. And the most recent buff to him, which allows his aerial slam where he grabs you and plows you into the ground. You can combo that now. Because it used to be you couldn't. Now now it bounces you and you can it does like 30%. It does like 35% if you do it right.
I find
so
that
crazy.
amazing. That is the one argument I have against Arxis is they'll take the game when it first comes out. They'll have a character that's broken, right? They'll nerf that character into the ground. And then the new characters they add in the future, they will give them those moves.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand that, right? So, like, if you look at the beginning of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Android 16 was broken. He was broken. You could literally hit heavy, go straight through a beam, and punish somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't, right? And, like, you could even throw a Ki Blast. You'll beat him out, but yet Broly goes straight through Ki Blast.
Oh, no. In the
Super
most
Saiyan
recent
4
buffs,
Gogeta goes through it.
No, Rock. In the most recent buffs, he's got some of that back now. His grabs can now go through key attacks.
What, 16?
Yeah, they gave him some of it back.
Yeah, I think I haven't played in... Man, it's been over a year since I played Dragon Ball FighterZ, so I know have they done 2 patches since then?
Yeah,
I know they did one because they straight broke Blue Vegeta.
Yeah, that's the most
character.
recent patch we're in right now. The broken Blue Vegeta is the one we're in right now, and that's the one where 16 got a lot of his stuff back. He's not as busted as he was when the game first released, but he's closer to that now.
Well, the biggest thing that made him busted was his light command grab, because it was a hard knockdown, like a level 3 knockdown.
Yeah, and then
so
50-50
you couldn't change
mix-up.
your wake-up options.
Yeah.
It was just straight 50-50 every time. That's what made him broken. Because Sonic Fox, man, he exploited the hell out of that tournament.
Yeah, he did. He didn't give a fuck. Oh boy. I'm interested. I mean, Evo is going on right now, so I am very interested in seeing how it turns out. I'm going to be watching the finals. I'm gonna try to catch the finals live because I'm very interested.
Dragon Ball Fighters?
For Street Fighter 6.
Oh, dude, I watched that all day yesterday, and I was watching it today all the way up until I got on here.
Oh, okay. Where are they at? They're not in
day,
finals
man.
yet, are they?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
They're in second day of pools, man. Street Fighter 6 isn't going to end until tomorrow night, which kind of sucks for me. I got to work. But I'm going to end up watching it later on in the middle of the night is what I'll end up doing when I get slow at work. I'll end up sitting down and watching, because they'll post it.
Yeah.
I'll watch the top 8 or whatever, or maybe they'll post the top 32 or something.
Yeah.
You know, make a good 2, 3, 4 hour video. But usually they release it in sections. I'll be able to watch it. I just can't watch it live on Twitch. But no, they're in second round of pools, man. They sat down and did the math, right? So if you are winner's side and you want to go all the way to grand finals.
Quick interruption. I want to let you talk, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this video here. And me and you, we're going to run some matches. Don't worry about that. I set aside time today so you and I could just play around and have some fun.
All right, man.
But we're going to go ahead and end this video here, everybody. I really hope everything Rock has been telling you about frame data and everything we've been talking about has in some way helped you. And giving you a better understanding of how frame data works and how you can use it to improve your game. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff helps the channel, free for you. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Later.